will first be answered by Frank, Virginia. Is how important is the maintenance of the condom machine to the campus, and how would you pursue more machines on campus? So you have 3 minutes.
Well, one of the things that we can say about student government this past year, and Virginia can speak on behalf of this, is that we obviously took the condom dispenser very seriously. We actually we were able to obtain 4,000 condoms roughly to stock the machine with. Much of that was due to University Senator Patrice Thibodeau's event, efforts. And the fact that it's in the Commons in a location right next to the post office, it's like hidden, but at the same time it's there. So there is that aspect of privacy, while at the same time, people will know where it is. We believe that, sexual health is very important on campus, and we would also like to advocate for better testing at health services for STDs, which is something that a lot of students have approached me about, saying that there is very poor testing there, and we find that that's unacceptable on a college campus, especially nowadays where STDs are very prevalent, prominent on campuses. So sexual health is obviously very important to us, and we would be open to the idea of working with groups to install other condom dispensers on campus if the student body feels that that is something that is truly needed.
Are you finished?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Frank and Hannah, you have 3 minutes.
We also believe that it's important to have a safe and healthy campus, part of which is encouraging condoms and prophylactics to be used. I think that it's important to make sure that the condom machine in the Commons is refilled, and preferably we could have more condom machines, possibly in a urban circle or either, and maybe Tully Brown. I think that would be a good thing. And yes, STD testing is something we should encourage. Is there anything else you'd like to add, Anna?
I would definitely like to agree with Frank. I think that sexual health is extremely important on campus, and I think that none of us would think otherwise, and that the condom machine is definitely needed students in being able to protect themselves. And I really thank the SGA for their efforts in that. And I think that it needs to be maintained, and that if possible, more machines should be installed if the budget allows for it.
How do you feel about the desk attendants still being here? Will you pursue the issue of poor security on campus? And what are your ideas about keeping the campus more secure? Jared and Hannah, you have the floor first for 3 minutes.
I think safety is an important goal for Drew. I think that's something that many students value. Many students that I know have come here to appreciate a safe campus. One way I hope to do this is by increasing the blue lights across campus. And I think the desk attendants, they serve a purpose, but that purpose is also served by the cameras in the entryways. I think if we really wanted to be serious about this, we would install cameras or have desk attendants in other entryways. I know Herb Circle has desk attendants, as does Hoyt, but they're easily bypassed. I think a camera system would be more effective and less intrusive. I think it would also be more cost effective in the long run. Wages cost more than capital.
Well, I'm a commuter, so I can't speak personally to the effect that desk attendants have had on me, but I can speak to the fact that occasionally I do go to campus at night, and the guardhouse isn't always attended. And even if it is, sometimes when you give the person your ID they ask you for your ID and they ask you for your license and registration when you come onto campus. And oftentimes when you return back to the guardhouse to get that, they're not there either, and you have to wait 20, sometimes 30 minutes to get that. And I think that's completely unacceptable, and we need to have somebody there at all hours of the night until I'm not entirely sure what time they get off usually, but I think that's unacceptable that they're not always constantly there. Maybe if we could have 2 and they could do it in shifts, it might be better, because I understand that people need to eat, etc.
I don't know what the committee status is at this point. I know that they're referred to in the bylaws of the SGA, now Student Government Constitution, which, as I understand it, has yet to be put up on the website and made available to students. If the HPPS committee remains, which deals with public safety, I hope to work closely with it to make sure that student concerns with public safety and the safety of the campus in general are met and exceeded.
Obviously, the RAs were very upset this year when they found out that they had a new desk duty, because the RAs' wages went down, but the amount of work that they were doing increased. And I spoke with Dean Merckx about this a few weeks ago, actually, asking about next year and asking what it was going to be like. And he told me that next year it's going to be staffed by half RA members and half of federal work study. So students are going to be doing it as work study. And we are going to try to work to make it, all work study. That way the RAs don't have all of this work on top of all the work that they're already doing. So that's something that we definitely are concerned about, because we know that the RAs already are working hard, and on top of that, they're doing extra work.
I also wanted to make some clarifications on what our opponent said. The student government, while we were the Student Government Association, the HPPS committee began a See It, Say It program where all students were encouraged to actually take pictures of the guard booth, being unmanned, or any kind of peace safety violations or anything of the sort. As far as I know, that information is being compiled. We have multiple pictures with times and dates that students sent in that we are going to submit to public safety so that they know exactly what's going on, so that we can improve that. As for the website comment, as I heard it, you claim that the Constitution is not on the website?
No, that's not true at all. The
Okay,
updated
you
bylaws.
cannot ask them questions.
I
This is your
apologize.
time.
No, it was rhetorical. The bylaws are actually being worked on at the moment. They will be available to the students. The bylaws are simple things like how much quorum is needed for a meeting. There are simple processes that the student government will be voting on at the end of this semester and will be made public to the entire campus and posted on the website. That's something that we've heard students talk to us about, and we've addressed it every time, and students have been content with that kind of answer. So.
How will you make sure that student input gets into the strategic plan? What are some ideas that you have for the strategic plan? And what are some issues that you have with it? So Frank and Virginia, you go first, 3 minutes.
I'll speak on this one. While this year's Student Government Cabinet actually met with the provost and the president, we had a very nice session with them in Mead Hall to discuss the strategic plan and the lack of student involvement in that process of creating the strategic plan. Now, as you guys know, the work of the task force, much of it will be involved in the strategic plan. So there is some student input, although we feel that there should have been much more. We've had issues with the strategic plan in the sense that it doesn't necessarily tackle issues that students really care about. It's a broad, vague plan that needs to be filled in. But things like high acceptance rates, high tuition increases, that kind of stuff is not mentioned. And students, including myself and the 3 other people sitting up here, want things like that improved. And I mean, even during that meeting, Pres Bob made a bet with me that he could bring down the acceptance rate from 74% to 60% in the next 3 years. I told him he wasn't capable of it, so that was just a challenge to Pres Bob, and he has to take me to El Mundo backyard. He can't accomplish that. So this is the kind of advocating we're doing for you. When we see an issue like the strategic plan where there isn't student input or enough student input, we are tackling that issue head on with the highest people involved in this. So, thank you.
All right, thank you. You've been keeping time. Okay, I just wanted to make sure, because sometimes it feels a lot longer than 3 minutes. Oh, wow. You guys are very concise. All right, Jared and Hannah, if you would please, you have 3 minutes.
I think one idea that was very successful, obviously, with the Commons was the town hall meeting, and I think that students would be very receptive if if the strategic plan was presented to them in a similar format. I also agree with Brent that maintaining academic integrity is really important, because we should strive to be the most prestigious institution that we can be. And I think that students should be involved in every step of this strategic planning process, because we are the people that are providing the tuition that is making this possible. So we should have the ability to oversee and make changes where we feel it is necessary.
As a student, when I first heard the strategic plan, it sounded kind of ominous. I do realize that in order to revamp the campus, as seems to be part of the nature of the plan, we'll need to accept more students, and we'll need to change how our budget works. I hope that by promoting financial transparency and allowing students to be critical of the budget, we'll find that these budget necessities are handled in a way that's much more representative of what the students need and would like to see. Thank you.